Living alone in your later years can arrive suddenly or creep up slowly. One moment, you're sharing a home, a routine, a life with someone, and then, little by little, things change. Children move out, a partner passes away or drifts apart, friends scatter, and before you know it, the only footsteps you hear are your own. For some, that's peaceful. For others, it's unsettling. For most, it's a mix of both. But here's the truth. Whether living alone becomes a burden or a blessing depends far less on luck than on the habits you choose every single day. There are 6 small, deliberate habits that can transform solitude into strength. They aren't complicated, but they're powerful. And the first 3 create the foundation. Without them, the rest won't hold. The first habit is staying connected, even when it's easier to do nothing. As the years pass, it's not unusual to drift from people you once saw regularly. Sometimes it's because you're tired. Sometimes it's because you think they're too busy. Sometimes it's just easier to stay home. But silence has a way of stretching out until it swallows weeks, then months. And once you get used to not reaching out, it becomes harder to start again. Connection doesn't have to mean hour-long phone calls or exhausting social events. It can be small touches woven into your routine. Calling a friend while you make tea. Sending a photo to your grandchild. Walking to the local shop and having a short chat with the shopkeeper, saying hello to the neighbor on your street. These moments may feel small, but they stitch a safety net that catches you when loneliness tries to creep in. Without them, days can turn into a loop of silence that chips away at your mood and energy. The second habit is keeping a daily rhythm. When you live with someone, routines happen naturally. Meals are shared, lights go out at certain times, conversations break up the day. When you live alone, there's nothing stopping you from sleeping till noon, skipping breakfast, or letting the day drift by without shape. It might feel freeing at first, but over time, a lack of rhythm erodes motivation. Days blur. You feel less alert. Even your appetite can change. A daily rhythm doesn't mean military precision. It means giving your body and mind an anchor. Wake up at roughly the same time each day. Eat meals at regular hours, even if they're small. Create cues that signal what's next. A stretch after waking, a short walk after lunch, a warm drink in the evening. These little anchors tell your body, we're awake now, we're resting now, we're eating now. The more predictable your rhythm, the steadier your energy becomes. The third habit is moving your body with intention. When you're younger, movement happens without thinking. Running errands, cleaning, walking to work, chasing after children. Later in life, especially if you live alone, it's easier to stay still. The problem is that stillness steals your independence. Muscles weaken, joints stiffen, and balance fades. And these changes happen faster than most people expect. You don't need to start training for a marathon. You just need movement that fits your body and your space. That could be a morning stretch while the kettle boils, a lap around the block, standing on tiptoe a few times to strengthen your calves, using the stairs slowly and steadily instead of the lift. The goal isn't to get fit, it's to stay mobile. Mobility is freedom, the ability to carry your own groceries, step into the bath safely, get up from the sofa without effort. Every little bit of movement protects that freedom. When these first 3 habits start working together, something shifts. Connecting with others gives your days warmth. A daily rhythm gives your life structure. Movement keeps your body capable. It's like building the base of a house, strong enough to hold everything else you want to add later. Of course, starting these habits isn't always easy. There will be mornings when the silence feels heavy, and you don't want to talk to anyone. Days when you think, I'll get up and move later, but later never comes. That's normal. The key is to see each habit not as a chore, but as a form of self-respect. Calling a friend isn't just being social. It's protecting your mental health. Making your bed isn't just tidying up. It's setting the tone for the day. Taking a walk is an exercise. It's keeping your future independence intact. People often imagine old age as something that happens to them, like weather they can't control. But habits are how you steer the ship. They can't stop storms from coming, but they can keep you afloat when they do. And when you're living alone, they're not just helpful, they're essential. So if you find yourself waking up to a quiet house, wondering how to make the days feel less empty, start here. Call one person today, at a time you choose. Decide what time you'll wake up tomorrow and stick to it. Move your body for 10 minutes, even if it's just in your living room. Then do it again the next day and the next. It won't take long before you notice a difference. The days feel a little fuller. The silence feels a little less heavy. You start to look forward to the small rituals you've built for yourself. And slowly, without fanfare, you realize you're not just getting by on your own. You're actually living. These 3 habits won't solve every challenge of living alone, but they will keep you standing strong enough to face them. And once that foundation is in place, you'll be ready for the next set of habits that turn solitude into something richer. Mental challenge, a care for home, and a clear sense of your own needs. But first, the basics: connection, rhythm, and movement, because without them, the rest won't stick. Once you build a foundation, connection, rhythm, and movement, it's time to focus on the next layer. Keeping your mind sharp, your home cared for, and your inner world in order. These aren't just nice extras. They're the difference between drifting through your days and truly engaging with them. Let's start with the 4th habit: challenging your mind on purpose. It's easy to believe that your mind slows down with age because that's just how things go. But in reality, the brain is a muscle that responds to use. When you stop stretching it, it gets sluggish. When you feed it new challenges, it wakes up. A challenge doesn't have to be academic. It can be anything that makes your brain work just a little harder than it did yesterday. Read a book outside your usual type. Learn a new recipe from scratch. Try solving crosswords or number puzzles. Write letters by hand. Memorize a short poem. The activity itself matters less than the act of pushing your mind into new territory. Some days you might feel the resistance. Why bother? I'll forget anyway. But that's exactly why you should bother. The process of learning, even if you don't remember every detail, keeps the pathways in your brain active. And an active mind changes how you feel in your body. You sit straighter, your speech stays lively, and you're more likely to engage the world instead of shrinking away from it. The 5th habit: caring for your home as if it were another person you live with. When you live alone, it's tempting to let standards slip. Dishes can wait. Clothes can stay on the chair. That dusty shelf? You'll get to it next week. But a neglected home slowly changes the way you feel about yourself. It can make you less likely to invite anyone in, which means you cut yourself off from connection. Treat your home like it's your partner in daily life. Keep it clean enough that you'd feel comfortable if someone dropped by unannounced. You don't have to aim for perfection. No one's expecting a magazine spread. But make the bed in the morning. Wash the dishes before bed. Keep your favorite chair tidy. Open the curtains and let light in. Small acts of care toward your home feed your own sense of dignity and stability. And there's another layer to this: physical safety. When you let clutter pile up, cords snake across floors, or lighting stay dim, you're increasing the risk of falls or injuries. A tidy, well-lit space is more than pleasant. It's protective. Now, the 6th habit: being crystal clear about your needs and boundaries. When you live alone, you are your own advocate. There's no one else in the house who notices when you're low on medication or when something in your body doesn't feel right. There's no one to say, "Don't push yourself today, you need rest." That means you have to pay attention to your own needs and speak up when something's not right. This also means learning to say no when something doesn't serve you. Just because you have time doesn't mean you owe it to everyone who asks. Overcommitting your energy can be just as harmful as doing too little. Protect your time, your health, and your peace. It's equally important to speak up in medical settings. If you feel brushed aside by a doctor or rushed through an appointment, ask questions. Request clarity. Seek a second opinion if something feels off. You may live alone, but you don't have to face challenges silently. When these 3 habits, mental challenge, home care, and self-advocacy, join the first 3, you've got a system. Your mind stays active. Your surroundings stay safe and pleasant. Your needs don't get lost in the noise of the world. But perhaps the most surprising thing is how these habits affect each other. A well-cared-for home makes you more likely to invite someone over, which strengthens your social connections. A sharp mind makes you more confident in conversations and medical appointments. Knowing your own boundaries gives you more energy for movement, for learning, for life. Here's the truth. No one else will enforce these habits for you. You can ignore them for a week, a month, a year, and life will seem fine. Until it's not. Until you realize the days are blending into each other. Your body feels weaker. Your home feels more like a storage space than a sanctuary. And you haven't learned or tried anything new in months. The people who thrive in old age, especially when they live alone, don't wait until things get bad. They put these habits in place before they need them desperately. It's like tending a garden. You water the plants while they're healthy so they keep growing strong, not just when they start to wither. And yes, this takes effort. Yes, there will be days when you don't feel like cleaning or doing a crossword puzzle or telling the pharmacist that you need a different prescription. But effort is what keeps life vibrant. When you live alone, you're not doing these things for anyone else's benefit. You're doing them for your future self, the one who will thank you for keeping the body mobile, the mind sharp, the home safe, and your needs clear. By now, you've got all 6 habits. 3 for the foundation, 3 for the structure. The final step is weaving them into a life that doesn't just get by, but feels rich, purposeful, and entirely your own. That's where the magic happens. And that's what we'll explore next. Knowing what to do is one thing. Living it day in and day out is another. The truth is, habits aren't magic spells. You don't wake up one day suddenly transformed. They grow roots slowly, often without you noticing, until one day you realize your life feels steadier, lighter, and more alive. Picture a single day where these 6 habits are woven together. The morning starts not with scrolling through your phone or staring at the ceiling, but with movement, maybe stretches on the edge of the bed or a short walk outside while the air is still cool. You notice how the body feels looser afterward, how your breathing comes easier. Back inside, you make your bed, a small act that immediately shifts the mood of the room. You open the curtains, letting sunlight flood in. It's such a simple thing, but light changes everything. Your energy, your focus, even your appetite. The kitchen smells like coffee or tea, and you take a few minutes to sit with your drink and think about the day ahead, rather than letting it just happen to you. Maybe you've got a crossword puzzle waiting, or the next chapter of a book, or you decided today's mental challenge will be learning a new cooking technique from a video. It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be new enough to make your brain sit up and pay attention. That's the quiet power of habit. You don't need fireworks, just a steady spark. Later, you look around your space. You notice a few dishes in the sink, a sweater draped over a chair. You deal with them right away. These aren't chores you resent. They're part of caring for the place that shelters you. Living alone means you get to decide how your home feels, and you choose tidy, welcoming, and safe. The afternoon might be for social connection. A phone call to a friend, a chat with a neighbor, or a group class you attend once a week. You've learned not to wait for company, to just show up. You reach out, you schedule, you show up yourself. Because isolation doesn't arrive with a bang. It creeps in quietly, one misinvitation at a time. At some point in the day, maybe a doctor's appointment or a pharmacy trip, this is where your advocacy habit comes in. You ask clear questions, you double-check instructions, you make sure you understand what's being said. You no longer let yourself nod politely while leaving confused. You realize that living alone means no one else is going to follow up for you, so you take the lead. By evening, you feel the satisfaction of a day that didn't just slide by. You've moved your body, challenged your mind, cared for your home, connected with others, and spoken up for your own needs. That's not just keeping busy. That's building a life worth waking up to tomorrow. Of course, not every day will be perfect. Some mornings you'll skip the walk. Some evenings you'll eat dinner in front of the TV without cleaning up. The point isn't perfection, it's consistency. If you keep returning to these habits, even after an off day or week, they become part of you, like muscle memory. But for living well, and here's the thing most people don't realize until they're much older, the habits you keep now decide the kind of old age you'll have later. Strength, independence, confidence, they're not just lucky gifts some people get. They're built, they're earned, and they're built in moments that look small from the outside. Making the bed, learning a new recipe, saying no to something that drains you. The people who live well alone into their 70s '80s, even '90s, almost always have one thing in common. They don't wait to feel motivated. They do the thing first and let the feeling catch up later. Because motivation is fickle, but habit is steady. Living alone can either shrink your life or open it wide, without the push and pull of another person in the house. You get to decide what each day looks like. That's a gift, but also a responsibility. If you don't fill your days on purpose, they will fill themselves, usually with mindless routines that drain your energy instead of building it. When all 6 habits work together, the result isn't just surviving alone. It's thriving alone. You wake up knowing you'll move your body. You'll use your mind. You'll care for your home. You'll stay connected. You'll guard your time and health. That creates momentum. And momentum creates confidence. And confidence changes everything. It makes you more willing to try new things, more likely to reach out to people, more comfortable saying what you need. It makes you less afraid of the future because you're already living in a way that supports it. So, if you take nothing else from all of this, take this. Living alone in old age doesn't have to be lonely, stagnant, or unsafe. It can be rich, active, and deeply satisfying, but only if you choose to make it that way. No one's going to knock on your door and hand you a fulfilling life. You build it brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. And years from now, you might look back and realize these little choices were the turning points. The reason you stayed sharp, steady, and strong while others faded. That's the quiet power of daily habits. They don't just fill the day, they shape the years.